Hey guys, my name is Dr. Brett Boshin. I'm a licensed practicing dentist, and today we're going to start a new series on fad diets and how they affect your oral environment, whether or not they're beneficial to the oral environment from a dental perspective. So today we're going to start with the carnivore diet. The reason we're doing this one, it's been gaining a lot of steam lately. It's trending quite a bit. We're seeing a lot more doctors and healthcare professionals that are getting on board with it. So I kind of wanted to break it down a little bit from a dental perspective. For those of you that don't know what the carnivore diet is, it is pretty much exactly what it sounds like. When I did a little bit of research on it, it was broken down into 3 tiers. And tier 1 being kind of like the hardcore form of the diet, which is just red meat and salt. Nothing else. No pepper, no milk, egg, cheese, no coffee, red meat, salt, and water, and that is the only thing that you consume. Tier 2 is pretty much other meats, other seasonings, garlic powder, stuff like that, and it's a little bit more lax. And tier 3 is kind of pretty much anything that comes from an animal byproduct, which would be eggs, milk, cheese, and all meats and seasonings and stuff like that, and allowing coffee as well. So before we get into this, I am biased. I did do this for an entire month a couple years ago, right before COVID started. And I will say that I lost a lot of weight. I felt great. I was able to exercise. I really didn't have any personal negative impacts from it. However, I was only able to do it for a month, which I don't think is really long enough to truly test something like that out. Like I said, COVID started and there were meat shortages, and you only had a certain allowance of meat at the grocery store, and it really just wasn't feasible for me to keep up with it. So what I am weary about with this one is there's a lot of wild claims being made, which I think comes out when any new fad diet really starts to gain a lot of steam. And I'm really weary with cure-alls. So a lot of folks are saying, that you can cure all these diseases and all these ailments and you'll never get cancer and all these things. And, I just want people watching this and friends and family of mine and stuff to really just, kind of take that with a grain of salt and take a step back before you start, going and believing all that stuff. For example, Jordan Peterson said that, it cured his periodontal disease or his gum disease. It's pretty much impossible to cure periodontal disease once you have it, and once that bacteria is embedded in your gum tissue, there's no way we found yet to get it out. But again, there's also been no true research on this, so we can't really back these claims or anything like that. But again, just whenever somebody comes out with a fad diet or whatever, and there's a lot of cure-all talk, just be wary of that. One thing that may have helped with gum disease is an inflammation reduction. Whenever we go on any diet that truly reduces the amount of sugar that we intake, and Americans, I'm in America, we consume a lot of sugar to the point where it causes a lot of inflammation in our gut, which shoots a lot of inflammatory factors all through our body and in our bloodstream, and that goes into our mouth because the mouth is connected to the rest of the body. So whenever we see high levels of inflammation, either in the mouth or in the body, it usually correlates to the other one as well, vice versa. But a major oral benefit, which is actually interesting, which I'm hoping that some research is done, is that in theory, you would get 0 cavities if you only ate meat. In order to get a cavity or a dental carie, you need all 3 things. Those 3 things are being the bacteria, Streptococcus mutans, sugar, which the bacteria eats, and then acid, which the bacteria produces it. The bacteria produces that acid by eating sugar. If you don't have sugar, the bacteria can't survive. If the bacteria can't survive, it will not be able to create the acid in specific areas to demineralize the enamel of your teeth to then create a cavity. So in theory, again, none of this has been proven. There's no major publications doing any research on this yet, which I hope to see change. But in theory, if you consume a 0 sugar diet, absolutely 0 sugar, you would get no cavities as a result. Now, I will say, this doesn't mean if you're on a carnivore diet, then you can just abandon all oral hygiene. trust me, there's a lot of other bacteria and there's a lot of other things, periodontal disease, gingivitis and stuff that can come from not properly debriding the teeth, on a daily basis pretty much. So don't think, again, it's not a cure-all. Don't think that you can just go on the carnivore diet and say, well, I never need to touch floss again. That is absolutely not true and not the message I'm trying to convey here. But definitely, it's all in theory, but if you had no sugar, then you would really have no cavities as well. I only did it for a month, so I wasn't really able to see any big oral environment changes or anything like that within myself, and I don't have any patients that claim to be on it, so I can't really kind of test it from there. If any one of you have ever tried the carnivore diet or are on it or have been on it for a very long time, please drop a comment below and let me know of your experiences. I'd love to chat with you on that. But just to recap, it's all meat, right? So no, technically no eggs, no eggs, milks, cheeses, anything like that. A true hardcore carnivore diet would just be red meat and salt. Be weary of the cure-all. Again, nothing's a cure-all. Life is full of many factors and many variables and so many things that, can happen. So, take a step back on that. But it can technically reduce inflammation. Again, anything that reduces the amount of intake of sugar that you or I consume is going to be beneficial because, the average American consumes way more sugar than any of us ever did in history, and for millennia. So we are seeing so many issues, so many increases in type 2 diabetes, metabolic syndrome. Oral cavities are such a huge issue as well in the dental field. So anything we can do to reduce sugar in any capacity is great. But is it going to cure your cancer? Probably not. Is it going to cure your gum disease? Probably not. What it may do is help prevent you from getting cavities simply because of the reduction in sugar. Anyway, so this is going to be the first episode in this series. I'm going to have several series kind of going and go with them. If you like what you saw, then like and subscribe. Tell your friends, family. If you or anyone you know has tried the carnivore diet, please drop a comment below. Let me know of your experiences. Probably for the next episode in this series, we'll get to a vegan diet or maybe like a vegetarian diet and kind of break that down and see how that may or may not affect your oral environment. Thank you guys so much for watching, and hope to see you back.